kind enough to join us now. Senator, good to see you. Congratulations.
Good to see you, Neil, and hoping you're well. I'm doing well, for 90, coot.
No, you're looking terrific, Senator. I was, in this day and age where the two sides are at each other's throats, I mean, you and the president seem to have a kind of a good kidding relationship. Were you surprised when he told you, he thought you deserved the Medal of Freedom?
I was a bit surprised. I was sent him several months ago. He said, be ready for some kind of a surprise. And then a few weeks before, he said, you're going to receive the Medal of Freedom. And I said, well, this is one of the greatest honors of my life and the highest award you can give to a civilian. I was in the military. The highest award you could give there was the Medal of Honor. So anyway, I've known Joe for 55 years. He's not an unknown quantity to me.
Well, it's quite an honor. I did like the line that the president used. One of the great things about Alan is he never takes himself too seriously, nor takes me seriously. So I got a kick out of that. Senator, while I have you here, there's all this, political infighting. Once again, it seems to happen earlier and earlier every 4 years, where Donald Trump seems to be telegraphing a move to run for president again. What do you think?
Well, put it this way, I voted for him once, so I'll never do it again. Does that answer your question?
Why never again?
Well, I think he's overused himself. I think he's used up. And I think the January 6th hearings are terribly irritating to him. I always say to him, stop the squeal. It's not very unbecoming. It's like someone in a sandbox and they stole their little shovel. And so I don't know where he's going, but I know there are plenty of horses out there from the Democrats who are ready to take him on. DeSantis is one, as you saw in that earlier segment. Hawley, Cotton, good grief, Cruz. There's a marching order of ready to take him on, and I think he's a wounded duck.
Do you think that they should wait? Do you think they should wait? I mean, there's talk that no one's going to make a move until they know for sure what he's going to do.
I think that people just should do what they want to do. If the whole American public is held in thrall by Donald J. Trump, we're all in trouble. I mean, this is a nut house. This man is out. And he's got an opponent here who Liz Cheney is trying to nail it. And she's saying, look, are you in favor of saying that Trump, that stole the election? And she can't answer that, because if she says that he stole the election, he's going to throw her overboard just like the pirates did.
You're talking about her battle right now to get the Republican nomination to run again as a congressman from Wyoming. And I know you have put out an ad supporting her, but if you look at the poll numbers, Senator, she's got an uphill battle on her hands, and this would sort of follow a pattern, not consistently, of those who challenged Trump or criticized him or even voted for impeachment. It's going to be tough sledding for him.
Sure it is, but there's a couple of things about the cause. You have one person on the side of revenge and hatred versus another person who says that this is the destroyer of democracy. Take your choice.
Now, you've said you voted for him when he first ran. So I take it that you didn't vote for him in 2020.
My heart was not in it. I said, you didn't know which one I was going to say, but I voted for him once, but I'd never vote for him again, ever.
So is it based on just his behavior? How would you describe it?
Well, to me, he's a contortionist. He could, as a circus act, he'd be a contortionist. How the hell do you lose an election by 8 million votes, prattle on into the vapors that you lost, and that it was stop the steal, then organize everybody, as they're proving in the January 6th commission, that this guy was right in the middle of it. Tried to get back to the Capitol. They wouldn't let him go there, take him back. Anyway, it is an ego-driven, almost like a madman. I want this job, and I don't care what it takes. And calling elected officials, can you find me 11,000 votes? Calling even witnesses that are testifying before the January 6th. I mean, the word is unhinged, but the locks are off, and the door is wide open. It's
So
more
what
than
would happen,
unhinged.
Senator, if, given your views, and he does run for president, and he does win, and he comes back to the White House, what do you think would happen?
Well, I think that then at that point, I'd do what I did with every president I've served. I served with Carter and Bush and Reagan and Clinton, and I wasn't there with Obama. But I think I would say I respect the office. I don't respect the person. I respect the office of presidency. And if I were back in the fort throwing bombs from the top of the roof, I would give the respect to the president as an office of the
But you don't
land.
like
But
him
I
as a
would
person. Are you afraid of something? Or are you afraid he does something if he gets in there? I don't understand.
I'm not afraid. I'm appalled. He'd do anything to advance his cause, or wake up in the morning and like the queen in Bambi and say, "Who's the fairest person in the land?" It's me,
Do you
Donald
think, I know
J.
you've supported Cheney and her, this commission's work. Do you think any of the revelations you've heard, Senator, are criminal, and that if they referred and asked the Justice Department to file such charge, you would agree that he has committed crimes?
I don't know that. I do know this, that anything that comes out of this administration that has to do with Trump or putting him in the clink or putting the heat on him, it will backfire by its own volition. They'll say they're just picking on him. They're just picking on poor old Donald, the child imposter.
Senator, a lot has been made, Donald, Trump and 74, 75, President Biden is going to be 80 this year. Elon Musk is suggesting there should be an age limit on the presidency. Do you think there should be?
Well, I tell you, I've seen a lot of people. If we're thinking of Henry Kissinger versus Elon Musk, Henry must be about 100. I don't think
99 years young. 99 years young. Yeah.
You can't put. I know 80-year-old people that are smarter than 30-year-old people who are boneheaded.
So you shouldn't make age. In other words, you don't think you should make age an issue.
No, I do not. And then when they talk about term limits, fine. But if you don't do something with the civil servants, it doesn't matter how many terms they do. The other guy says, "I'm a GA at 17, and I'll be here forever. So bring him up and have a hearing, and I'll be here."
But in other words, don't make age an issue, which makes me think that maybe you, 90 years young, are indeed contemplating a run for president.
I think of it every day, and I have my Medal of Freedom tied to my pajamas, and I know I could win.
All right, so that's like a maybe.
Anyway,
that's a maybe right now. I do wonder, while I still have you as well, what do you think of the tone in Washington these days? I guess it's not that dramatically different than when you left. You were hoping to find a bipartisan cause, to deal with the debt. We never did, never have, probably never will at the rate we're going. We don't have a lot of time, about 30 seconds or so, Senator, but what do you think of what's going on now in the place you called home there for a long, long time?
Well, I think about in '83, I wasn't before I got there, when Moynihan and Dole and all of them got together and did something with the Social Security system. I get nailed on that all the time. I said, all I can tell you is in 2034, it's going to pay out 23% less. And if you can't get through there, you're gored. You're made out of soap suds. And you can't do anything because the AART will tear you to bits, and the seniors and grab a lunch.
Still
Out
a
of your
mess.
lungs.
Still a
Yeah.
mess, Senator, to your point. Very good catching up with you. Congratulations again, Senator, the Medal of Freedom
Nice to
recipient.
see you, and you heal. You take care.
I will, my friend. Thank you
Be well.
very much. You are an iconic figure in this country.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.